Welcome to the Lynn Miller Room. In this edition of the Eagles Sports Coaches Show, we're going to start off talking a little baseball here with Mike McGuire, head coach of Morehead State University. And, Coach, 8 games under your belt now, even at 4-4. Your assessments on the first 8 games of your career here at Morehead State?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me through 8 games, I've been very pleased with how we've pitched. We really, out of our 8 games, we've had 7 very quality starts, and one start was just okay. We're finding some roles, and some guys are settling into some roles in the bullpen. Which was a lot of unknown for me going into the year. I hadn't brought any of these guys in a ball game, and what they do in the fall is different. Obviously, there were a couple guys that had done some things in the past here, but a lot of new faces and settling into new roles, and I think that that's happening going forward. And I thought we swung the bats extremely well the first weekend. This past weekend at Gardner-Webb, we didn't swing it nearly as well. I think that when all is said and done, we're going to be a good club offensively.
It's part of the season that we talked about when you were here last time about trying to figure things out. Who you can put in certain situations, who's going to answer the call. Right. Because practice is practice. When you play against each other, it's nice to get the swings, and it's nice. But when there are other people on the other side, that's when you find out.
Well, that's exactly right. And you don't really know until they're in the fire. And, some guys like that pressure, and some guys cave to it. And until we go through that, and that's the thing with a new coach, new team, you got to learn about your club. And so I feel like we've done that. I think get a better understanding of who we are going forward each week. And the big thing now is trying to stay healthy. We're missing. A couple guys have been nicked up for us, and I really feel like if we can get to full strength and get everybody out there on the field, that we can be a pretty good club.
You mentioned pitching-wise. Who has taken the ball for you early on?
Well, Blake Smith, Noah Smallwood, Aaron Go, and Tyler Keel have each made 2 starts each. They've all pitched well. Blake Smith threw very well this past week at Gardner-Webb. Didn't throw as well the first weekend. Unfortunately for him, that first weekend it was a miserable day weather-wise, and I think that had a little bit to do with it. But, he pitched very well, pitched well enough to win. Aaron Go has given us 2 quality starts. He's 1-1 on the year, but really could be 2-0. Noah Smallwood threw a one-hit shutout one run for 8 innings this past weekend. Unfortunately, we back into the bullpen, we let one get away. But and he's made 2 good starts for us. And Tyler Keel's the freshman. Got a really good arm, and might have the most potential of all those 4 guys. But got his feet wet the first weekend, got a no decision against Indiana State, pitched really well in that ball game, and certainly gave us a chance to beat a good club. And then this past weekend got his first win of his career against Gardner-Webb on Sunday, and tossed 5 innings, gave up 3 runs, and really I think has a bright future. I'm excited about all 4 of them.
That's pretty good that you can have the second go around for them. And first time out, you kind of see what they can do. Second time out, you get a feel more. And you mentioned the young man that went 8 innings. That's pretty good early on this season.
Well, it is. He obviously was pitching to contact and got some early outs. And honestly, if it had been later in the year, I probably would have let him go for the complete game. But with the big picture in mind, I felt like it's time to get him out and go to the bullpen because we've got bigger fish to fry down the road.
Looks even in the losses that you've been competitive. And I know as a new coach coming into a situation where we might not have been competitive in years past, it's a good way to get their confidence, good way to get your confidence as well, the fact you're fighting in every inning.
I tell you, it doesn't make it any easier when you lose. No. But I will say that, and I've said that to our guys, is, we won 4, we've lost 4. I think you could very easily look at it and say, we could be 6-2, 7-1 right here. A hit here, a pitch there. And that's the thing when you play all these one-run ball games that, the ones you win, you don't think about those, miscues or the guy you left stranded, but the ones you lose, you certainly do. And I like the way we're competing. And I think that, if we continue to pitch well and play good defense, that we're going to be in every ball game. And I think we've got enough arms if we stay healthy that we can get good quality starting pitching. I like some of the arms that are settling into roles in our bullpen. And I feel like that, we're going to match up very well with most teams in our conference. I feel like the schedule we've played to this point certainly is helping prepare us for that. Indiana State was a regional club last year. Played them very well twice. Split with them. Could have very easily won both of them. Gardner Webb was, picked second in the Big South Conference, a very good conference. I think that, they return a veteran pitching staff that should be one of the best staffs, in the league. And so I think that, who we've played to this point should certainly prepare us well for OVC play. And I'm excited, as we get down the road, as we mature as a club with, how our development continues.
I know last week you had to sneak to Gardner Webb a day early to try to get it in because of the weather. That kind of messes you up when you have to travel all the way to Bowling Springs, but it's good the fact that you did get all those games in.
Well, that's just it. I was in contact with their coach. I said, we want to get our 4 games in. You looked at the forecast, and it looked like Friday was going to be a wash. The first weekend we played a doubleheader on Sunday because of weather. We got home at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
We didn't have a midweek game. This week we've got a midweek game. We go to Louisville today, so I wasn't interested in getting home at 3 a.m. again.
Yeah.
So I said, playing 2 on Sundays out of the equation. We were scheduled to leave Thursday morning, go practice, and when we got down there that night, but we ended up turning that into a ball game, which guys would rather play a game than practice any day of the week anyhow. So, I thought we, got off the bus, we were ready to play. It's tough to do after a 6.5-hour trip, but we just didn't get the key hit when it mattered.
Yeah, that was the first one was 3-2 11 innings. So you go up a day early and you get to play some free baseball.
Yeah,
as they
we
say.
got some free baseball and a very good ball game. And I think all four games with Gardner Webb. The third game of the series or second game of the series rather ended up 7-0. But honestly, that ball game was 1-2-0 into the 7th, and I felt like we played 4 very tough ball games against them. Very easily could have won 3 out of 4, but it didn't happen. But hopefully we learned from it and we get those wins down the road.
Of course, you play your weekend series and you look for that midweek game, and you don't dodge anybody. Louisville, as you mentioned today, the fact that Louisville a very strong program.
Right, and that's they're a great program, and obviously Dan McDonald's done a great job there, and I think they're ranked number 4 in the country in one of the polls right now, and we're certainly going to have our hands full today. But just like us playing Thursday at Gardner Webb when we weren't scheduled to, I said for me, for this program to get where we want to, it's going to happen on the road. We're going to have to win an OVC championship on the road, an OVC tournament on the road. If we're going to compete in an OVC in a NCAA regional, that's going to be on the road. And so, we can't back down from people. Play anywhere, anytime, and that's kind of the same thing with going to Louisville. I think it helps prepare us to go play in a hostile environment in front of a big crowd. I think that prepares you down the road for better competition, OVC championship play.
And it's always important, I guess, to have those contacts with in-state schools, especially when you're recruiting players and they look at the schedule or they get online and look and say, let's see, who does Moorhead play?
Right.
By playing the Louisvilles of the baseball, the fact that you're taking competition seriously.
Well, certainly the kids in this state in particular, want to go play Kentucky, Louisville, and so forth, and I think from recruiting it's important. Kids want to play quality competition, and it's and I think it goes a long way in recruiting. Who do you play? And kids we're recruiting. They're excited that we play Tennessee, Clemson, Louisville. Down the road, our schedule. We've got some neat trips, in future years that certainly help in recruiting because they want to play the who's who of college baseball.
Step by step, trying to build a program that you've had success in your other stops. It's going to take a little time, but these people are going to be on the foundation level, and that's what we might look back at 10 years and say, this first bunch wasn't that bad.
Right. Yeah, I mean, obviously you go through some growing pains, and they don't all have to necessarily be growing pains on the field. It's just, a new coach, new system, new players, understanding each other. But, certainly have a plan, for how we're going to get there. And, it takes a lot of hard work along the way.
Of course, hopefully the rain will go away. And, of course, coming up on Friday, Sunny Allen Field is just up the road. I know you've been on the road for a long time, but Sunny Allen Field's still here. You have your first home series, and Ball State rolls into town 3:00 on Friday, and we like to invite everyone who's watching and listening to come out and support these young men.
Yes, we're looking forward to sleeping in our own beds and playing at home here this weekend, and hopefully the weather clears a little bit from what they're calling for, and we can get all 3 games in and play on our own field and bat last once. That'd be, you play all those one-run games, it'd be nice to bat last.
Still have the white unis? I don't know if you still have the white unis.
The whites we're going to have to break out of the closet. So
tell us a little bit about Ball State. What have you heard about them?
Well, they're kind of in a similar situation as us. Rich Maloney's the head coach there. Rich built that program up to great respectability several years ago, and then went to Michigan for a period of time. He just recently came back to Ball State. They were a young club last year. Now with a new coaching staff, they got some veteran clubs. They've gotten off to a decent start. They've played a decent schedule to this point as well, and they're I think they're 3-4 coming in this weekend. And they don't back down either. You look at their schedule, and they play us 3-game series, and then they're headed to South Carolina and play a 2-game series, and then they're in a tournament at Myrtle Beach. So, they're playing a good schedule as well, and I think, Rich is a really good coach and has done a really good job in his coaching career, and I think that that's how you build programs, is by playing good people.
So quickly after, Ball State, you got Youngstown State coming in, and you're playing a nice long series at home, but then just around the corner, OVC action begins on the 8th of March. Murray State comes to town. Yeah,
with 11 teams in the conference now in baseball, that only leaves, there's only 14 weekends in college baseball. So, we're in fourth weekend of the season. We're in OVC competition. So I venture to think that a lot of OVC teams are going to look a lot different that last series than they do the first series, because we're all trying to figure out our clubs right now. And so, we got Murray State here that first weekend. At this point, I'll be honest, I know nothing about them.
Yeah.
But we got a little time to figure that out. And, we're not trying to get too far ahead of ourselves. We're just worried about, playing well today.
Once again, Louisville today, which is the 26th, if you're watching on the Eagle Vision or the YouTube, and of course hopefully you'll get that in 3:00 down at Louisville. Ball State the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of March, 3:00, 1:00, and 1:00, and then Youngstown State comes to town March 5th and 6th, and then Murray State will come to Morehead State for the OVC opener. Mike, good luck, great start. Hopefully we'll talk to you a couple of times more.
Sounds good.
Mike McGuire, head baseball coach at Morehead State University. We'll come back with more. This is the Eagle Sports Coaches Show.